Hello there, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day to you, wherever you are. If you're listening to this on the replay, welcome to another Phocuswire webinar, this time produced with our friends at Luxoft, and it goes by the title of Get Ready for 5G to Transform the Travel and Hospitality Industry. So I think it's fairly safe to say that there is a technology and a principle that's coming down the pipe that does have huge ramifications and exciting ones, I believe, for the way the industry can develop. What you're going to be hearing over the next 55, 60 minutes or so is a couple of speakers, one in particular who's going to really entertain you, but not only entertain you, but give you a lot of food for thought about how you can take this to the next level. So I'll come into a fuller intro in a second, but a little bit of housekeeping as always from us. We will have time at the end for a Q&A. So if you've got any questions, and I suspect you will do because there is a lot of detail to get through, save your questions until that allotted time at the end, and you can just post them on the questions button that you see in front of you. Fear not if you have to dip out at any point. We are recording everything that you are going to see and hear today. So, and that link to the replay will be sent to you in a few hours at the very, very latest by tomorrow morning your time for those of you that are registered. This is an excellent opportunity, of course, to pass it on to your contacts, your friends, your enemies, your whoever you like within your organization, and get them to tune, because as we say, this is a vitally important kind of thing that's about to happen, a piece of technology that's about to happen. So it should be top of mind for anyone that has telcos that continue to push out 5G in all major metropolitan areas starting this year. This is what's happening. By next September, indeed, Apple is rumored to be launching 5G-powered iPhones and iPads, driving a big refresh cycle. They do lots of refreshes, but this is going to be one of the big ones. A lot of our readers here at Phocuswire are starting to ask about how 5G will affect their businesses, and indeed, and perhaps most importantly, their customer relationships. So here we are here with Luxoft to tell you what 5G will mean to your customers and yourselves, and how your businesses can take advantages of the new ways of interaction made possible by 5G. So at this point, I'd like to turn over the webinar very briefly to Steve Hodges. He is the Vice President of the Luxoft Travel and Hospitality team. Steve, take it away, sir.
Thank you, Kevin. So, hello, I'm Steve Hodges. I lead Luxoft's Travel, Transportation, and Hospitality Group. Two other key team members who will join me at the upcoming Phocuswire conference in November are Marissa McAfee and Roger Magnuson. Between the three of us, we have over 75 years of travel industry experience. For those that are not familiar with Luxoft, we deliver custom digital engineering as well as the business strategy and technical expertise as required for digital transformation. From the core code to interaction design, proof of concept to engineering of scale. We are a DXE technology company, so we work on global projects. We also have an innovation user experience design lab in Seattle called Smashing Ideas. All the reasons you may not know of Luxoft is that we are constantly working in sparingly advertising. When we are a company that you call when you need a technology solution that has to delight your customers and has to work as you intended and has to be delivered on time. At any given time, about 40% of our customers are members of the Fortune 500. We can deliver cutting-edge technology solutions because we only employ deeply experienced people. Nearly 80% of our have master's degree or PhD degrees. More than 3/4 have over 5 years of relevant industry experience. Today, you're going to hear about how 5G is going to transform travel and hospitality, what you can do to plan, and you're going to hear it from our 5G lead, Dr. Ken Urquhart. I knew I was going to mess up your name, Ken. Sorry about that, Urquhart. We are going to illuminate a 5G. Thank you. We are going to illuminate a 5G experience from the perspective of both the business traveler, the hotel, and the city being visited. This is just one of many new use cases enabled by 5G's near real-time responsiveness. After Ken's presentation, I'll come back to show you how to get the entire list of 5G-related use cases that involve different areas of travel, such as airports, airlines, hotels, retail, car rentals, cruise lines, for example. Before I turn over the webinar to Ken, I want to introduce Kevin May, the editor, who actually just introduced himself at the beginning from Phocuswire. We will be attending the Phocuswire conference in November, as I mentioned earlier, and we are excited about the leadership and innovation that always brings to the event. Kevin?
Okay, thank you very much for the for the introduction. Indeed, I'm Kevin May, the editor-in-chief of Phocuswire, and our entire team will be there in Florida in about 3 weeks' time. So we're looking forward to not only seeing our friends at Luxoft, but those of you that are attending the conference. Tickets still available, I'm allowed to say, given this is a Phocuswire webinar. So. Ken, Dr. Ken, no less. Ken Urquhart is a physicist by training with 3 degrees. He built the world's first internet airline ticket sales system for Alaska Airlines way back in 1995 and held executive positions at Sun, IBM, and Microsoft. So he's incredibly experienced, I think it would be safe to say. Ken joined Luxoft this year to lead their 5G offerings. He has a breadth of experience in critical aspects of 5G-based innovation, like real-time computing systems, telco clouds, artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, cybersecurity, and virtual reality, to name just a few. He says he could never settle down and do just one thing. You may understand that more after you hear him. We hope he's settled for at least another 53 minutes or so as we get through this webinar. So here we go then, Ken, over to you, Ken Urquhart.
Great, thank you, Steve, and thank you, Kevin. And hopefully at Phocuswire, Kevin, we're not people will be confusing us for one another. Welcome, everyone. 5G is here today. Businesses are already creating hardware and software solutions that will leverage 5G and all the new experiences and customer interaction data that will be starting to flow as a result. Now, I'm going to assume we always say, we all know about 5G, right? Well, yes and no. Let me give you 2 explanations. The techie one and the one that matters. Think about 5G as fiber optic data speeds without the cables and wires. So that means it's fast. It's really fast. It's like you can download a 4K movie to your mobile phone in seconds instead of minutes. Or an airline can refresh their entire in-flight entertainment system as the plane sits at the gate with no wires or cables, so they can put content optimized for the tastes and micro-demographics of their next passenger load. So that's the tech part. Let's talk about the one that matters. If you out there, if you got like 11-year-old kids playing video games on their phones and they start screaming in frustration where the games buffer and stutter and really spoil their experience, well, with 5G, those games are not going to stutter. They're not going to buffer. Kids are going to have pure gameplay, peace of mind, and you're going to have quiet. Now, how's that for getting real? So, no more tech talk about 5G here. We're here to harness 5G to the wheel of commerce. So I want you to focus on the big question. Does my business have a documented strategy for how to succeed in this new ultra-fast, ultra-responsive, and ultra-connected world that we call 5G? Now, to help you unpack your own 5G strategy, we need to consider the impact of 5G-enabled experiences on a typical customer journey and the employee experiences. And then we'll cover business justifications, timeline for 5G rollout, and what business planning actions you should be taking now to kick off or strengthen your 5G strategy for your customers. Now, to really get into the customer experience, come with me on the 5G-enabled travel experience. Like many of us, I do a lot of business travel. So let's follow me as I go to meet a client to close a deal. Now, while booking my hotel using my company portal, I notice an option for 5G-enabled hotel. And I'm thinking, okay, does a 5G hotel really matter? Who knows? Maybe it'll be an interesting diversion, something new, something, different from the usual. So I booked the 5G hotel and start to realize something's a bit different. Since I'm a member of that hotel chain's affinity program, they already have a lot of data on me, my preferences, my hotel stay patterns, and my phone's AI assistant is suddenly linked into that data during the hotel booking. So my voice assistant is now a bridge between me and my hotel visit. More importantly, my AI can leverage all the affinity data to customize my stay, offer me upsells, give me micro rewards at key moments during my stay, all to give me an amazing experience and keep me that very loyal customer every business treasures. So let's catch up with me and my AI assistant while I'm on the way to the airport. My assistant's name is Matt, and he's monitored to respond to me when I say, "Hi, Matt." Now, and Matt can also start an interaction on his own at key times when the environment changes around me, or I have events scheduled, or something happens. So let me see how this works for me as I'm arriving at the airport.
Ken, now that you are on your way to Florida, let's set up your transportation to the hotel. If you use your standard transportation service, it will cost $40. The hotel is offering to send a car to pick you up at a cost of $20. Do you have a preference?
Thanks, Matt. Go ahead and book the hotel transportation. And what does my schedule look like when I touch down?
You will be picked up between 10 and 10:15 at the airport. The hotel will give me a vehicle tracking beacon, so I can direct you to the car after you pick up your luggage. In typical traffic, you will arrive at the hotel by 11:15, and you have a conference call at 1:30.
Okay. Well, the schedule seems a bit tight, and I'm going to need some time to prepare for the call. Oh, and I'm going to need lunch when I get there. Can you tell the hotel I'll need to check in quickly and go to my room? And can I get lunch sent up about 20 minutes after I check in?
Certainly. I will check you in while we are in the car, and you will have your room key loaded onto your mobile phone. I'm displaying the hotel room service menu now so you can choose lunch. Just tell me your choice when you're ready. Please note, there are 4 items on the menu prepared with peanuts. The kitchen has informed me that those items are prepared in a separate area, and customers with peanut allergies are well attended to.
Okay. So you can already see that a 5G-enabled hotel experience isn't limited to the physical confines of the hotel. Your relationship becomes non-localized and much deeper. Managing guest requests, is nothing new, but being able to do that before the guests arrive with real-time automated live responses from hotel services is new. And that was all kicked off when I made my reservation, and the 5G cloud linked in information on top of my AI that is consulted first going forward. And that near-instant transmission lets you leverage scalable power to deploy service algorithms and interactions via the AI assistants of your customers. And AI assistants are continuing to grow and be very useful things indeed, and 5G lights them up. Now, I probably won't be in the same state as a hotel, and I can be seriously distracted by the demands of my day, yet I was still able to schedule my transportation, and the hotel got a cross-sale out of it. And even if the components are the same, airport to hotel transportation, room service, so on, the way they're engaged to create value can be new. Now, whereas before you might have sent me an email or a text to let me know you're prepared for my upcoming visit, things that I could see on my phone and could quite likely miss if I'm in a hurry, the one-way and static interaction now can morph into the hotel being ready and at my call from the moment I book with you. 5G business strategies and solutions are being designed right now by some of the people on this call that help leverage these future capabilities, and you can be doing it too. Now, let's get back to my favorite traveler as I arrive at the hotel. How's my 5G journey going on now?
You are checked in and can skip the front desk. You are in room 1003, and the digital key to unlock your door has been loaded onto your phone. The hotel chain wants to thank you for being a loyal customer and using them for your last 3 business trips. Your room has been upgraded.
Great. So thank the hotel for me. Now, which way to my room, Matt?
Keep walking down the hall and take the first right. Your room is the 3rd door on the left. I am turning on a blinking green light on the door handle, and your meal will be arriving in 15 minutes. The hotel just reminded me about dinner tomorrow. The 2 restaurants you asked me to watch are now just over 50% booking capacity. Would you like me to make the reservation tonight?
No, but thank you for reminding me. Oh, and I need to check with the client about dinner plans. Can you set a wake-up call for tomorrow at 6 a.m.? I promised my wife I'd get a workout in.
Your 6 a.m. wake-up call is set. Use the digital key on your phone to access the exercise rooms on the 4th floor. The hotel says the weight machines are usually not very busy at that time, so you should be able to do your preferred workout. I have just received an update from the hotel. Your meal is on the way and should arrive in under 5 minutes. Enjoy your meal.
Thank you. Now, the future of personalized service is going to be more than a status designation, and it's going to be a lot more than a couple of free text notes on a customer's profile. The relevant information can now be extracted and surfaced at the right time and at the right place. Now, you know, any IT department can write the code to push and pull data, but there are currently limits on how often systems do this, how much data is pushed and pulled, and how fast the data can be round-tripped in each instance. There's even limits on how many characters you can send back and forth. 5G can change this. Storing and processing of the data moves much more into the cloud because 5G substantially eliminates lag times between the cloud and a device and lets you interact far faster. And the push and pull is going to be practically instantaneous, and the amount of data you push and pull can grow enormously without any perceived lack of delay. The processing power of the cloud, available through new 5G networks, becomes more reliable and responsive. And that enables all of us to maximize the benefits of technology delivered into the services and hospitality we provide. You know, today, it used to be really novel that I can do iMessages in real time with the concierge staff in some hotels. You know, I just text them like, I need dinner reservations. I get a text back a few minutes later. And that's great, but it's still a bit clunky. But the thing is, we're already doing the cloud round trip of push and pull to get something done for me. The fact it's Apple's iMessages is just one service. What happens when you supercharge that with 5G speeds and AI in the cloud, being able to process larger amounts of information, draw inferences, pull up offers, and figure out the next best thing to do based on what the customer's done now and what they've done historically? 5G enables us to access and process that treasure of data more than ever before. And it also means you're going to be adding data to our databases in types and volumes like never before. For example, sensors become a much more feasible part of the solution, and there are many different kinds to consider. We just talked about being able to light up the key fob on the door as a way of letting the customer find their room more easily. We've got light sensors, infrared sensors, acoustic sensors, pressure sensors, all available cost-effectively that can link over 5G, contribute to your network much cheaper than it is today. In this sense, we can see that almost everything in your physical operations at your hotel can become sensing, feeding information into the data warehouses that your services access. We all know that this connected network and devices is the Internet of Things. And you're now accumulating massive amounts of data on seemingly insignificant actions like doors opening, windows closing, lights being left on, air conditioning being set, heating being kicked in. And you can begin to crunch all that data to discover insights in places you never thought to look. What's not important here is the particular type of IoT solution. They all vary by cost, complexity, time to install, amount of data to monitor. The important thing is that you understand how to leverage the elements and mitigate the risks in your 5G ecosystem. Now, getting back to me, the traveler, I like consistency, but we all know business travel can be hectic and full of surprises. And just before we check back on how my 5G journey is going, you'll notice the question field at the bottom of your page. We'll be having a Q&A session at the end, and I already see we've got Robert. Thank you for your question. And we're going to be answering those as we get near the end.
Your lunch meeting has been canceled, but you have an invite to hold the meeting online. Would you like me to cancel the transportation and lunch reservations?
Oh, yes, cancel them, please. I'll take the call at my hotel room. Yeah, can you call me a taxi, and can you get the hotel to deliver a cappuccino to my room when I arrive back?
Certainly. By the way, because you are a loyalty program member, the hotel has offered to send a car to pick you up for free. Would you like me to schedule it? Please note that in this traffic, the car will arrive in about 20 minutes and the return trip will take about 25 minutes. From here, the time to walk is about 7 minutes.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that. I'm going to decline the car and I'm going to walk. Matt, can you please start directing me?
Okay, I will guide you. Start walking south. By the way, I have been keeping an eye on dinner plans. Both the restaurants still have tables available. But the hotel restaurant is offering you a free bottle of wine if you book with them. Would you like to book the hotel restaurant for dinner?
Oh, yeah. The client does love a good red wine. Go ahead and book the hotel restaurant. That'll make it much more convenient. And please add a note to the reservation that we'd like to speak to the sommelier after we're seated. All right. So at this part, you start to see the process and services are much more seamlessly integrated and offered to me. I don't have to call the front desk, wait to be transferred between departments, or camp out on hold. No one had to pull my file to see if they should offer me something extra. And when you've got free-form notes about a customer in a file, the time it takes to find, digest the text, and do something with it is huge. And with natural language processing, we can now crunch that stuff in moments and get a series of next best offers presented. The ability to reference unique loyalty profiles and then make the a la carte hotel service offers is a basic thing to consider. But what you build in that channel and how you use it to shape and reshape your relationship with guests is where the winners start to stand out from the crowd. You know, winning won't be simple, but this is a paradigm shift that makes big leaps or big regressions possible. With customer expectations continue to be disrupted and new norms established, what's the strategy for navigating this transformation? If every travel company can make sure every guest feels that they always have a comprehensive and immediate concierge service available, then what? How does your brand personality show up in the 5G-enabled world? How's communication monitored and governed? There's a lot to unpack within each new capability we're talking about, and we only have time to focus on just the business travel case today. So, what does this all mean, for example, when you think about families? And speaking of families, let's check back in with the journey here. Okay, I'm back in my hotel room. I had my coffee, finished my meeting. You know, when you're sitting in your hotel room and you get in that zone where you sit back, you blink, you realize the workday's over, you've been traveling all week, and you've got just some moments of personal time before the dinner meeting. And in my case, that's when my AI Matt reminds me that I've got something a little more important than work I need to think about right now.
Hi, Ken. You asked me to coordinate a time to chat with your son. Now appears to be a good time for both of you. Shall I set up the connection? The hotel 5G system allows external VR sessions, and you did bring your headset.
Oh yeah, please go ahead and make the connection. Hey there, Doug. How was your day?
It was so good! In class today, we learned about tide pools. I wish I could see them in real life.
Well, maybe we can. Hi, Matt. Can you search for tide pools near our home and display a VR image of one of them?
Whoa! Look, a sea urchin!
Oh, look at you, marine biologist.
This looks just like it did in class. We have to go here.
Okay. Hey, Matt, when can we go visit the tide pools?
Certainly. I will review your calendar and send a summary of the best available days. As a reminder, you are scheduled to be in the hotel lobby in 30 minutes.
Okay. I want to pause here to consider what short-term vacation rental units and platforms might fit into the 5G world. Now, I'm a business traveler. I'm happy with most loyalty programs, so I go to hotel chains without looking much elsewhere, and I always have a favorite at the time. But what happens if short-term rental units can really increase the consistency and support provided during their experiences? You know, behaving a bit more like a hotel chain with the full-service concierge. Now, if you're a big hotel chain, you're thinking, all right, I got the resources to be an early adopter of 5G, and vacation rentals don't, so what's with this? But don't forget, behind those vacation rental unit owners are global companies that have built some of the most paradigm-shifting platforms in the past decade. Let's consider a common problem these companies are working on: off-platform booking. Customers of the vacation rental system use a profile on the platform as a billboard, advertise their unit, but then they complete the booking transaction off-platform by direct communication and payment. Current measures to mitigate the risk are punitive and don't create a customer relationship based on trust. So, what if one of those services wants to leverage 5G to decrease off-platform booking? What could that look like? Well, let's say you give, or rent, your host a turnkey 5G hardware software package designed for vacation rental home security, maintenance, information, and entertainment. Remember, you want to sell someone a home security package with 5G. You're not pulling wires in the house. You're using 5G IoT devices that are securely linked to the hub you provide them. And the 5G package, and guest experience enables you would only be available and activated if bookings are made on the platform. So, okay, hotels, the 5G advantage just evaporated, all because Vrbo or Airbnb wanted to limit off-platform bookings. And this is purely hypothetical, but the reason I'm sharing this is because it's not just the data transmission that'll be fast. Business innovation is going to get faster. 5G enables big companies to do a lot of data, but it also levels the playing field. And service providers can give smaller players the ability to provide those features that were previously unworkable and unobtainable. I didn't even mention the fact hotel chains are now involved in the short-term rental unit market. Think about that for a second. 5G capacity enables hotels to manage and service a distributed network of short-term rental units, as if each one was just another remote room attached to their hotel. But we don't have that discussion. I think I'll hold that for another day. So let's get back to my business dinner. Okay. Hey, Matt, I liked that wine we had. Do you have the receipt? I want to make sure I remember what kind that was. And, great. Hey, Matt, what time is my meeting tomorrow morning?
Yes, all of your receipts are logged in your expense tracking software. I have pre-populated your report. It will have the information about the winemaker and the vintage you enjoyed. Your meeting tomorrow is at 9:30 a.m. Hey, Ken, your voice is stressed. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I have a problem. I got this nice big red wine stand on my jacket, and I need it for tomorrow morning. Can you contact the hotel, schedule a dry cleaning service that returns my jacket back to my room when I get up at 7 a.m. tomorrow?
Don't worry, Ken. We can resolve this. The dry cleaning is scheduled. The hotel electronic concierge will arrive outside your room to pick up your jacket 10 minutes after you return to your room tonight. The hotel confirmed your jacket will be delivered at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. The hotel is asking you to permit me to automatically inform them when you are awake in case you want your jacket earlier or later than 7 a.m. Do you give that permission?
Okay, so this has just got interesting. Is anyone else maybe a bit uncomfortable with the type and amount of data being transmitted, or asking my permission to have my AI watch me overnight to see when I get up? How does information security and customer data protection factor into a 5G-enabled customer experience at a hotel? The good news is 5G is secure, much more than previous wireless protocols, and that's by design. The bad news is that you need to be crafting data management policies right now because people are often the weakest links in information security. When 5G tech's deployed, you'll not only gain access to new types of data at scale, but you'll also have much more granular data on customers than you have now. So yeah, you're going to have a lot of personally identifiable information moving through your system. You're going to make decisions about what you keep, what you do with it, and how you reflect it back on the customers. And this new high-resolution customer view is going to require ethical, legal, and strategic decisions to be made. Don't wait until you're already in possession of the data to decide how you're going to handle it. But remember, 5G is working hard to make security a first-class passenger. Security has been a design value in 5G for the beginning. Security protocols are not going to be something applied to the system post-design to patch vulnerabilities. They're thinking about it already. You have to believe that compared to when we first had Wi-Fi in the 90s, with no passwords transmitted in the clear, we can probably come a ways since then. Now, while we're starting with a more secure protocol, it doesn't mean everyone accessing the network will be acting securely or even legally, considering the multitude of regulatory frameworks for customer data protection. We'll revisit the idea of information security when we talk about planning, but right now, let's just take a look into business justifications for different 5G strategies. But before we find out if I close the deal, and you were wondering about that, weren't you? Let's take a peek behind the hotel curtain. What was the employee experience for the hotel staff as my stay played out? How does 5G affect hospitality staff when they go about their jobs? How does it affect job responsibilities? To keep this section focused, we're going to consider two specific ways 5G enablement could change the employee experience. And these are, 1, VR, virtual reality for training and development, and 2, on-the-job support. Now, we're not talking about reformatting current training videos so you can see them on a VR headset for a boost in engagement or retention. I'm already seeing companies completely reimagine their training and development models to leverage the advantages of 5G. The economics of producing and using VR simulations is changing as the cost of transmitting and experiencing them decreases. Remember, 5G moves a lot of data around. That's one of the reasons we're going to see virtual reality in a wirelessly disconnected world. And that means that the economics of producing and using VR simulations is changing. And that means that total cost decreases, demand increases, leading to still more innovation and cost reduction. Maybe using VR training isn't the exact approach that aligns with your business or your budget. Just don't get caught reacting to others' innovations. Have a plan. So what might training and development programs built for 5G look like? Well, let's start with pre-experience training, so employees can learn the recurring and integral lessons of your business in a controlled and private VR environment. Let them learn in a safe environment the hard lessons, and without producing dissatisfied customers. Another one, cost-effective localization, because with all that processing power in the cloud, you can soon craft and deploy different training scenarios based on cultural context, language, or other local learning requirements. And especially for big global chains where it's kind of different in every country how you're handling your customers. And then customized training so employees can learn at paces suited to their skill level and learning speed. Adapting training to develop strengths and address their weaknesses as the steward of your brand. Finally, we've got proficiency faster, closing the time gap between when you consider someone a new employee and an experienced employee. The other important thing to remember is 5G does not replace employees or possibly even reduce them. It enables them to be more human and have better interactions with your customers. You want them to spend less time looking at screens, clicking the mice, and typing at keyboards. I mean, when I go to check in at a hotel, I usually have the person behind the desk staring intently at their screen instead of looking me in the eye and talking to me. I want to give your staff more time to do meaningful guest experience work that robots can never do. And there's a few ways this can happen. So 5G capacity removes logistical work that was prioritized over guest experience work. There are only so many hours in a day, and there's only so many seconds in an interaction. Let's make them count. And any thoughtful automation, from large administrative coordination to small data entry tasks, are done by the AI system. You allow your employees to remain in a mindset of connection to and service of your guests and visitors. Now, less administration means more focus on the guests. So how can you utilize sensors, cloud computing, and 5G speeds to automate incident response, task delegation, prioritization using machine learning? Think about service deployment for housekeeping, restaurant, room service, maintenance, and transportation. They can all be integrated and prioritized. Make the most use of the staff you have by solving the biggest problems that affect the most guests first. And now that you removed most of the burden on the small stuff, give your employees what they need to know to deal with the guest in front of them. You can deliver employees a guest interaction profile. Let the guest always choose the timing and type of interactions they prefer. You can reinforce communication best practices. Remind coach staff on the best practices of specific situations immediately before they engage the guest. And then support employees during the interaction. Give them live access to support resources and comprehensive information on the business facts. You don't have to just generate a ticket and pause the interaction while someone else resolves it. Remember how much fun it is to sit there and be talking into your radio 5 times in front of a guest to get someone's attention? And so I'm asking you to think about guest-focused service frameworks to provide immediate ticketing, service status tracking, prioritization, and resolution. And these are just some of the examples. A good place to start is by looking at your existing customer service model. And, speaking of customers, let's see how I'm doing. The robot came, got the suit, I went to sleep. I got up in the morning at 7 for my wake-up call. A few moments later, ding at the door. There's my jacket. Wine stain's gone. Got down got one last workout in. Now I'm headed to the airport to catch an earlier flight home because I got everything done on time. Now I'm in the car and my phone rings.
Thanks for coming, Ken. It really helped that the exec team could meet with you in person yesterday. We met this morning, and we want to take negotiations to the next step and get this closed. The contract draft is in your inbox.
Oh, great news. Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet your exec team, too. Let me review and mark up the contract on my flight back. So, I have a good result on that trip. Don't you wish all your business trips worked out as well as they seem to in these webinars? God knows I do. Now, this is just one hotel, one business traveler, one tight schedule in a 40-minute webinar. What other 5G journeys can we take in travel and hospitality? To give you an idea, consider the customer experiences that matter to you and your business. Then consider all the advanced technology you've been hearing so much about over the past 3 years. Well, the information overload phase is over. Here's where we find ourselves. Because we only have limited time today, I lit up just one journey involving some aspects of important 5G use cases in travel and hospitality. We're going to go over the whole stack at our breakout session at Phocuswire 2019 in November in Hollywood, Florida. And that's a little under a month away when we're recording this webinar. Now, we've got a lot of ground to cover, and you're going to go away from the session with a lot of food for thought about your next steps, because you need to think about your 5G strategy now, help you make decisions confidently while maintaining alignment across your organization. Delightful experiences are one thing, but P&L sheets matter. These investments may seem costly. So what does the business justification for them look like? Where and when will you see a return on investment that your CFO can quantify and attribute? Answering those questions means reviewing your current technology plan, researching the impact of 5G, and then integrating and updating. So let's divide the 5G components of your plan into 3 buckets. Let's start with efficiencies. How can I make what I have stretch a bit further? You can cut Ethernet, copper, fiber out of some site improvements in building plans when 5G coverage is around. Optimize your HVAC, monitor and control the building envelope. You can predict and adjust environment controls automatically for optimizing guest experience and cost. And yes, you can do that today, but getting all that together without having something like 5G in the building is expensive and needs to be planned in advance. Retrofitting is not always an option. Now, enhancements. Increase the capacity or what I have already. You can do asset visibility with the IoT network. Know the status of every appliance, every machine. Schedule predictive maintenance so you don't have to have someone just walking around the building checking on things. The machine will tell you when it needs service. Maintenance and room service allocation optimization with AI is another example. Finally, transformations. How do I get something new in here? This is like full integration of guest profile, live status with concierge and loyalty programs. 5G forward experiences, services, and marketing. Be the early adopter. Mostly attempt to learn fastest and really take thought leadership with customers. Use your existing business strategy and metrics as a starting point. Consider how changes resulting from 5G will alter the forecast or the landscape the forecast take place in. Consider changes that occur not just to your business, but also your competitors, and the expectations customers develop because of 5G experiences outside your industry. Ask yourself 3 questions. If 5G is enabled, how might competitor loyalty programs better compete against yours? If 5G is enabled, what might become an alternative to your product that previously wasn't? And what part of my service is not unique to me and may experience 5G advancements and experiences my customers have elsewhere? How might this impact their perception of my offerings. So here's some immediate challenges we've been hearing from customers of Luxoft. You know, and I'm going the wrong way in the slide deck. Now we're going in the right way. So 5G is rolling out in large metro areas today. Devices are available today. Apple's rumored to be taking the 5G plunge next September to drive a massive upgrade cycle. How do you think they're going to be pushing all those bits back and forth to their rumored augmented reality headset? And there's a whole list of deeper questions and broad implications for those challenges. Now, so you might be thinking two things. I can't wait till you can travel like this. Or maybe, that's a fantasy. No one's going to want to give up that much of their personal information. The key here is to put your personal feelings about interactions with 5G aside and begin building a strategy you can bank on. Business decisions that must be made about 5G are not decisions that can be made in a few weeks. We're all businesses. We all have a rhythm in our fiscal year. Consider this. Within 1 year, 5G will be deployed in most major metropolitan areas globally. Device manufacturers have 5G devices available now. They're already promoting them heavily as 5G network deployment increases. And Europe and Asia are both targeting 2025 for widespread 5G deployment across their countries. The companies that will make newsworthy experiences with 5G are building them now. I know because we're helping them, because they're going to be deploying them smoothly in 2020 as more areas light up 5G and more mobile device makers add the 5G chips. Remember, major metro areas are targeted within the next couple of months, if not already. And some of the upscale properties in those areas for hotels can start playing with them now. And those companies are engaged in upstream business planning. They're evaluating how their current plans and strategies play out in 5G-enabled marketplace. They got budget proposals, product roadmaps, technology investments, process planning, strategic partnerships, new cost centers, new profit centers, maybe even a whiz-bang super future customer experience that's going to leave you feeling like a record store after the launch of the iPod. Consumer data protection policies vary by geography and impose constraints on what 5G products do. We need to be evaluating compliance and data management policies in the regions you operate in now. And these business implications, I know, feel far-reaching, and that's because they are. That's the reality of 5G. There'll be more connections, and the data will flow quicker. No way for us to fully understand what exactly business and customers will want to do with that new power. That's why we walk through this customer journey today. Because as technical as 5G may seem to you, the implications are always very human. So focus on the humans, our customers. What are they doing? What are they saying? What are they not saying but expecting? And what will you do with 5G to surprise and delight them? And Steve, I'd like to turn it over to you to close. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you, Ken, and thank you, Matt Carlucci of Luxoft, for being the voice of our AI assistant today. I think you gave Siri and Alexa a run for their money. The 5G world is going to mean high-touch, constant contact customer interactions that are meaningful, lasting, and deep. We at Luxoft can talk with authority about 5G because we know 5G and we know the travel industry. Luxoft is working directly with many other companies racing to deliver all the 5G it has to offer. Right now, we are working on everything from building 5G core systems for telecoms to re-architecting back office systems and customer-facing apps to deliver the right and deep interactions enabled by 5G. We believe you have about a year or so before everybody knows about 5G enablement, but you don't have to wait. Now is actually time to get started. You can contact any of us to discuss the 5G journey, find out how Luxoft can help get you there on time and within budget. Now I'd like to open up to Q&A. I think we have some time for a few questions.
Okay, thanks ever so much, Steve, and thank you, Dr. Ken Urquhart. So obviously, Ken, huge congratulations on behalf of the whole of the Phocuswire team on sealing the deal in your scenario there. And,
I know
and obviously, well done.
Well, you control everything.
and thanks to Matt for being the challenger to Alexa and Siri. Right, excellent. So audience questions, we welcome all of them. We've had quite a few come in already. We've got 5, 6, 7 minutes or so to get through some. I've got some here as well. Ken, or Steve, but I suspect this one is for Ken. We've talked a lot about integration here and indeed implementation and use cases and things like that. Could we just take a step back for a moment and just give us an overview as to what it is at a technical level is the difference between 4G and 5G at a telecoms level, first of all, please, Ken.
All right, so let's just do a really simple example. I'm sure a lot of you run Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, streaming music services. You also might book stuff with Airbnb. You might get a car with Uber. None of that existed in the 3G telecom world because the connections weren't fast enough or reliable enough. When we went to 4G and 4G LTE, the stuff that you get today on your phones, we suddenly got enough bandwidth and speed and device capacity to put high-definition audio down to your phones with a little bit of stuttering, a little bit of buffering. We also were able to push static pictures to let you check out rental units and see high quality on your phone and make decisions. We also enabled speeds and round tripping to the cloud so your Uber driver can find you and they can coordinate between you and your driver to get them there to pick you up and track you on your journey. 5G is a quantum step above that. We're talking fiber speeds. We're talking megabits per second. And we're talking many, many more devices. 5G means when you're sitting in there in a given cell tower, you can put a huge number of devices compared to what you can today without seeing slowdown, stuttering, buffering. The whole point was to really drop the round trip latency, the pauses. As I said, it shouldn't have to wait. The thing says pause.
And how do privacy permissions apply with my AI assistant when it bridges to a hotel rewards platform on a non-localized basis?
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, so great question. And the answer is customers control their data. They tell the hotel what they can collect. And customers are willing, not always, but mostly, willing to trade their personal information in exchange for value and assurances from the hotel chain or loyalty program about how their data is going to be used and what's going to happen. For example, if the hotel chain says, no third parties, I have security audits against being hacked and the data stolen, and I only use it in the context of you and your hotel stays, can I keep it? And the answer might be for a lot of people, yeah, sure, go ahead. And when we talk about bridging to hotel platforms, remember, when your AI is attached to the data the hotel has, that's your data that the hotel has been keeping for you because you've let them keep it. And that's being used to enhance your stay. And if you give permission, maybe the anonymized version of your data, like how many people are in the hotel, where they generally go in the hotel without personally identifying it with you making certain moves and things, might be okay so that other people's experiences enhance yours. And as far as always-on scenarios, there are people who have Siri running all the time. For example, I've been in meetings and we've been talking away and suddenly someone's Siri pipes up wanting to join in and help. Yeah, that can happen. It'll happen more. How we deal with this is really a job to think through for society. I know what I can do with you individually with your mobile phone in an isolated room, and what happens when everybody's got AI assistants in a meeting. It can also be, we're going in this meeting, and when you go in the room because of the IoT sensors, we actually put up cell disruptors, or we switch off your AIs because you've given us permission. There's a lot of things to think about, and hopefully I've answered your question.
So I guess in a similar vein, who controls, in inverted commas, the AI in the cloud technology associated with what we've been hearing, Ken?
Well, right now, individual companies do. Amazon owns Alexa, Apple has Siri, each has privacy policies. They'll tell you what they're doing with it, and they give you an option to flush the data they've collected if you decide you don't want them to have it. And like
right.
Everything else, it's evolving. How we interact with our devices, how much privacy we want to give up or not give up, is going to be a moving target as people decide and constantly reevaluate the trade-off between my privacy and my convenience.
Okay, so this is a good one. I think this kind of gets to the heart of why, people might be still unsure about the impact of 5G on hotels, for example. So the audience member asks, can you explain more why this is inherently 5G? So many of the examples that you were talking through, Ken, are within owned buildings, such as hotels, where people will already be using the Wi-Fi, so which they can actually do today, correct? So just kind of give us your perspective on that particular point, because if they're on the Wi-Fi, they can do this anyway.
Yes, you can. And what's your Wi-Fi for? One of the things is running the cable, putting a Wi-Fi repeater in every room, handling the router load, getting that properly balanced, and making it secure is a huge challenge. It is non-trivial. There is the cost of fitting the hotel, cost of acquiring the stuff, cost of checking, do you have the cybersecurity necessary? The fact that until, most Wi-Fi protocols today still have issues. The hardware still has issues. And you also think, at most hotels, if you check the speeds, they're gated because they put in enough capacity so that you can use the system for email, texts, uploading, downloading documents. But they also limit you in how fast you can upload and download because they don't want to have to buy a huge machine room to support this. But 5G is something wireless carriers are going to be deploying, and they're going to be deploying it in volume. And if you can get that speed and that convenience and the ability to hook 1 million devices per cell tower, for example, instead of a couple of hundred before things degrade, that's a huge step up. 5G inherently, as I've been telling you, at a basic level, it's about the speed and the fact that there's not that latency, the wait for your data to go back to the cloud, have something done, and shipped back to you. It's about eliminating that. It's about eliminating the bottleneck of how many devices can I put on a cell tower. Okay,
so I suppose a follow-up to that then, Ken, do you sense there is going to be some kind of educating of smartphone users that rather than when they get to a hotel, they shouldn't bother with the Wi-Fi, they should actually go on to the 5G? And in turn, the second question, maybe one for Steve, is that hotels want them on their network because then they can they're within their own system, they have their own platforms and things like that. So when you log into the hotel's Wi-Fi, it's got all the ancillaries and things like that. Maybe they don't want people to go and carry on using the 5G, arguably.
And that's a valid point. And that's something every hotel chain and every property is going to have to decide what they want to do. But realizing how often does a hotel chain upgrade their Wi-Fi, because it means I'm going to have to replace all my repeaters in the building to get to faster speeds. Let's ask this way. Wi-Fi 6 is coming, which offers a lot of the features of 5G. So, I'm a hotel chain. Do I invest in Wi-Fi 6, replace all the repeaters in all my rooms and my hallways, and replace equipment down in the machine room? Or do I let a telco provide me with 5G and piggyback on that? If I'm renovating an old property, am I going to be pulling all the cable to make everything happen and hook up the repeaters in every room? And is that an expense I want in exchange for what I get out of it? Again, it's a business trade-off. Happy to have the discussion because, there's going to be cases where one makes sense or the other makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is Steve Hodges. Just to add to that a little bit, I travel on business all the time, and if I'm in a hotel and I've access to Wi-Fi that has some of these restrictions and limitations, but I also have 5G access, I'm probably going to use the 5G anyway because it's more convenient for me. I can get to do the things I want to do much faster and more efficiently. So I think it's one of those evolutional changes that the travel industry is going to have to adopt and gear it towards to be more in their favor, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And sadly, we're running out of time. I've got one final question. I mean, we have had some questions come in about use cases for things other than hotels, and maybe that would be the basis for another webinar where we can enlist Matt again to help us talk us through maybe airlines and things like that, or indeed tours and activities and things. I've got one last question for you, Dr. Ken. I mean, you talked about the sixth version of Wi-Fi. Can you give us a sense, if you have an idea as yet, what 6G might be? We're talking about 5G. This is kind of a looking forward, end of webinar type question. What do you think 6G might be?
3GPP, a committee that tries to work with everyone to define these standards, it's still evolving. It's a list of specifications without a lot of meat around it yet. It's nice to speculate. I think all I could say is faster, even lower latency, higher responsiveness, more devices, and how you split the network up. Remember, 5G comes with this really interesting concept called network slicing, where I can, on one 5G cellular network, give you, as a customer, a custom-made network that you think your devices are on by themselves. And your network has guaranteed latency, like guaranteed speeds, guaranteed round-tripping of data. It's a la carte. And it is isolated from the other networks that have been built to ride on the same 5G infrastructure. So you can roll your own custom networks with your own specifications, and other person with their device using the same cell tower will see a completely different kind of network with different security, different access, and others. And so it's going to be to the point where you can actually customize how you're served by 5G. 6G, I know, will extend that, but I don't think I can talk about, specifically what the new and amazing features are coming. It's just too soon. Just remember, 7G is also on the horizon.
Indeed, and many more webinars to come on those subjects. Unfortunately, we are out of time. We have taken a note of the questions that we didn't get a chance to run through, so sorry about that, but rest assured we'll pass them on to Ken and Steve at Luxoft, and either they or one of their colleagues will come back to you. So it only goes for me to say, look out for the team at Luxoft who will be in Florida in about 3 weeks' time with us at the Phocuswire conference. So look out for them, as I say. Everything that you've seen and heard today, including the dulcet tones of Matt, the assistant there, are available on the replay, which will be sent, as I said earlier, out to you in a few hours, or at the very least by tomorrow morning. So only goes for me to say thank you to Ken and thank you to Steve. First of all, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kevin. And just a reminder to every listener, please connect with me on LinkedIn. Ask me questions. We're at Phocuswire. We have a breakout session. I would love to meet you, say hello, spend some time, and talk about your 5G questions and what amazing things you might be able to do with it.
Okay, I've already looked at your LinkedIn profile, Ken, and I'm already wondering what the name of the cat is in the picture. I wonder if it was called Matt. But anyway, thank you very much for inviting people to come and engage with you. Last of all, just thank you very much from Phocuswire to Luxoft for working with us on this hugely important, I suspect, evolution in telcos technology. So thank you very much from us to telcos. Webinar replay on the way. And thank you very much, as always, for those tuning in. We really appreciate your enthusiasm for another Phocuswire webinar. So thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll have a great day.